I'm Colin Shantz, CEO of Copper Tree Solutions.
And I'm Melinda Hutchinson, Professional Services Manager.
Today we're going to give you the top 5 Office 365 tips to increase productivity. I've asked Melinda Hutchinson to join us today. She's the expert on our team here on Office 365 and what it's capable of. So today she's going to tell us a little bit about some of the tools that she feels you could leverage in your organization.
Thanks, Colin. As you know, the Office 365 suite is a collection of different softwares. So there's a number of places that can be leveraged. SharePoint being one of the most popular ones. A lot of people don't know that if you actually go to the SharePoint link and browse it through a website, as opposed to using it as a file share, there's an alert me function there. And you can actually set alerts that when a document that you've created or any kind of document's been changed within a library or a specific document, that you'll get an email alert telling you that somebody's modified that document. And it's a great thing to use, for example, if you have marketing material, you want to know when new marketing material has been uploaded for sales staff. They'll get those alerts automatically as soon as those documents are updated.
And where do I go to find that if I was going into the website, browse to the file, and then it's in the menu there, or where do I find that?
It's actually at the top. It's in the top bar. It's those magic three dots. You click on those three dots and they drop down and it'll give you an alert me function and you can actually go in there and set up some pretty specific alerts. A second SharePoint tip and trick is a lot of people have a habit of creating a document and a copy of a document for every version that they want. SharePoint actually has versioning set up innately, and you can again go to the website and pick any document, and on the magic three dots on that document line, you get a menu that allows you to browse the version history, and you have the ability to open up versions up 100 versions back, and you can see who's modified them every step of the way. There's also advanced versioning functions that allow you to control the version IDs, which is handy for policies.
Is that something that's turned on by default, or is that something that the SharePoint administrator will need to turn on?
The basic versioning function is actually on by default and requires nothing. If you want to use some of the advanced versioning, you can actually control which version it is and when the version increases and have approval processes. That would require an admin to help.
And that's only available in the browser interface, or is that available from Explorer on your computer or from one of the Word program, for example?
Nope, that's definitely in the browser interface. So it requires access to that or looking at it that way. Another tip would be using OneNote on your meeting invitations on Outlook. You can see at the top on the taskbar, there's an option to add meeting notes. You have a choice. You can either use it to track your own meeting notes that are private to you, or you can actually have team meeting notes, which means anybody on that meeting can actually see those meeting notes. So it can be used collaboratively or for yourself. And the advantage to that, of course, is that you have it in the OneNote app. So it's easy to see there. But it's also attached specifically to a meeting. So if you know that a meeting happened 2 months ago, you can go back and find those specific meeting notes for that meeting and not lose them, you know, because they're not tied to the meeting.
So is that accessible? You just open the meeting, and if you have OneNote in your account, it's available there, or is there some kind of plugin that needs to be installed or something like that?
No plugin, Office 365 takes care of it for you. So when you've installed the software, it's just there. So Teams itself leverages the document sharing in Teams leverages SharePoint. And if you upload a document to Teams, you can actually have a conversation that's attached to the document so that at any point when you open up the document, whether or not it's in SharePoint directly or whether or not it's through Teams, you can actually open up a conversation. It's really handy for collaboration, for Teams collaboration. If you have something that you're working on in tandem, whether or not it's a proposal, you have this whole history of conversation basically that goes along with the document.
I don't think I've ever used that one. Do you access it from within Teams, or if I have a Word document open, for example, um, how do I use that feature?
It is in Teams. So the chat part, well, the chat happens in Teams. And if you ever want to I believe in Word, you actually see that there's a chat associated. If you click on it, it will just open Teams. So the chat portion is always seen in Teams. Because Teams has the ability to show a document, you can actually see the document in Teams with the chat beside it. And that's usually most people's preferred method of using that tool in tandem with documents. You just view it through Teams. And then another one is tasks. A lot of people use Outlook tasks. Some people are aware that they can be scheduled. You can do reoccurring tasks. But there's another app called ToDo in the Microsoft Office suite that is, it's part of it. It's in all of the suites that takes those tasks and gives you a different view of those tasks. And it gives you that more modern kind of, build your day. It gives suggestions as to, what tasks are outstanding or overdue, and you can actually add them to your today's list. So it's a nice way of managing and organizing your day ahead of time. And you can manage all your tasks through there as well. But it pulls from not just Outlook, that's the primary source, but also if you use Microsoft Planner, it will pull all the tasks from there into the one view as well.
So I can get rid of my paper notebook.
Yes, you can.
So is that a separate app then that's available, or how is it accessed?
So the To-Do app is, so if you go to office.com and you log in with your Office 365 account, then you'll see a series of apps, and the To-Do app is there. So you can view it online the first time. It gives you the option to install it, and it installs on your machine, so it can actually be something that you run as an app. It also has a phone app, so you can download Microsoft To-Do and have it on your phone as well. In summary, the 5 tips are using the SharePoint alert function, using OneNote for meeting notes, using SharePoint for versioning, attaching conversations to documentation in Microsoft Teams, and using Outlook tasks or the To-Do app for task tracking and planning.
Thanks for that, Melinda. One of the goals with Coppertree as we work with our clients is really helping them to leverage technology and leverage the tools that are available to them. And this is just an example of some of the things that people ask us about as we're talking to them during our VCIO process. They will ask us, is there any technology that you know of that we could be using, or things that we could leverage to increase productivity within our organization? And so we spend a lot of time talking to our clients about what tools are available. And sometimes it's, larger pieces of software. Maybe it's an ERP system or a CRM system or something like that. And sometimes it's just a little productivity tip that they can take away and use. So we spend a lot of time researching what's available, what the different tools are capable of. And we're also a resource for our clients as they are going through. And sometimes our clients will think of something, there's got to be a better way to do this particular task, or, what software might be available to help us with the particular problem that we're having. So they'll reach out to us, and we do the research and come back with some recommendations and help them implement the solution. But ultimately, it's really about how do we drive your business forward by leveraging technology, and what can we do to utilize the tools that you may already have to be able to increase productivity within your organization. I'm Colin Shantz, CEO of Coppertree Solutions.
And I'm Melinda Hutchinson, Professional Services Manager. Thank you for joining us today to discuss the top 5 Office 365 tips to increase productivity.
Please visit our website at coppertreesolutions.ca to discover Coppertree today.